Namaste, my name is Abraham Varghese and I'm here to answer certain questions posed by the IELTS examiners and all collated and put together in this book, a very helpful book, and it is a production of the institute called B-GHUD, about which many of you all would have heard of. I will try and answer the question posed using my experience and little knowledge that I've acquired over 45 years in the UK, and of course my experience as working as a barrister during some period of this time. Okay. Namaste, my name is Abraham Varghese and I'm here to answer certain questions posed by the IELTS examiners and all collated and put together in this book, a very helpful book, and it is a production of the institute called B-GHUD, about which many of you all would have heard of. I will try and answer the question posed using my experience and little knowledge that I've acquired over 45 years in the UK, and of course my experience as working as a barrister during some period of this time. I must make it clear that you must not take what I say as gospel or to restrict your mind to such views only. It is very important for me and for the institute that those who read or hear what I've got to say can help, and I use the term can, or may help you to broaden your mind and give you different ideas from which you can, as it were, attack questions and provide them with the answers that they're looking forward to in reply to their questions. Okay, so now I will come to the question itself, which is the position of women in society has changed markedly in the last 20 years. Many of the problems young people now experience, such as juvenile delinquency, arise from the fact that many married women now work and are not at home to care for their children. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? Well, it is very much a topic in vogue. It is very much an issue that is uppermost in society, and it is of deep concern. But we must understand that as we progress, progression does not mean keeping us in the same state of affairs as we were used to 20 or 40 or 60 years ago. For that matter, taking us back to some time immemorial. Because though that is relevant to us, it is that past which makes us what we are today. It is very important that we use it in a constructive way to the evolving circumstances of society. One of the factors that started off, I think, to some great degree was the participation of women in the Second World War and probably before, which helped make up the force to provide the necessary strength and supply for the forces fighting their enemies. And thereafter, in manufacturing, certain jobs were more easily and more handily and more dexterously provided by women who, while chatting or having a nice gossip, are able to continue working at a high rate and at a good standard, producing goods that the company is proud to sell abroad and elsewhere. But as time progressed and more women got educated, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing, they also demanded the need to be able to work with their men or amongst men to go out to work because the family needed that income. And without that income, there would be other serious problems, not just social or otherwise. And therefore, their right to do that did not have to be granted as such. It is a right that is presumed. If a man has to go to work or can go to work, why can't a woman? She is also just as much human as we are. And in fact, she carries more burdens in life for the family, for their loved ones, than mankind can ever do throughout their entire lifetimes. And so they must have that freedom, because after all, their purpose is not selfish in the main, and is generally not so. It is for the family. It is to uplift the family. It is to secure the family. It is to provide for the family. And so, on that score, I have got no objection, no difficulty in allowing it to happen. But does it have consequences? Yes, it does. Now, don't think that juvenile delinquency is a new problem. We all think that nowadays the youngsters don't do this, don't behave that way, etc., etc., etc. Well, our parents thought about us in the same way, and their parents thought about them in the same way, and they were staying at home, and they were all the time with the kids or having time, keeping an eye on the children. Mind you, they used to have larger families in those days, but they still got them all mainly disciplined and well looked after. It doesn't take away the fact that not all of them could do it. You'd always find a bad egg somewhere. Now, I don't need to say that I don't mean a bad egg because the person is as such bad. It's just that that person is classified so because they have not followed the natural and normal path. And according to sociologists or people of that ilk and many others, including parents, they will say, oh, he's a delinquent. Oh, I've given up on him or her. They'll never listen, they never come to the path that's right, etc., etc., etc. Well, whose path is right? We can't be absolutely sure that whatever path we take is absolutely right. But having said that, we belong to a society, and as we belong to society, there must be law and order. There must be some kind of uniformity. There must be some kind of peace and security so that society can grow not just as a unit, but also individually. It is important that women spend some time at home with the children, but there you can make provision and changes can be made in the working structure that we presently have. Making jobs that can be dealt with from home for the company is one way of doing so. But that does not bring about the children being at home for the mother to attend to, excepting if they are very young. They also go to school when they have grown to a certain age. They are exposed to many factors, and there, before they become delinquent, it is the teachers and staff generally, including the administration, etc., who have a responsibility to ensure that the children do not go off the beaten path or the path that society finds difficult to cope with. These are easily mentioned and generally mentioned, such as drugs, alcoholism, cigarette smoking, and wandering aimlessly into relationships at times that you don't even know how to look after yourself. And then, of course, joining up with gangs that take a certain satisfaction from beating up others and doing things antisocial. So even that, i.e. that the mothers being at home, is not going to solve those problems, because children have got to go to school and a lot of their time is spent in school, in that atmosphere that sometimes can make it easier for them to become delinquent. Now, if the mother is at home, then when the children come back, she can give them good attention at that time, or check to see what happens, give them restrictions, tell them you got to be in by this time, create some discipline. But so can also the father. There is no excuse in saying that you can give up the care and duty towards your family just because you are tired. You still carry that burden, and it's likely that if you don't attend to it, the problem can be so large that all your working comes to naught. So this is a big balancing act, and I think if society progresses in the direction of accommodating a balance between working at home and providing for the company and spending time with their children, having both partners, if necessary, to direct them into the paths of righteousness and bring them to the standards that maybe the parents themselves have achieved, then I welcome it and I support it more or less wholeheartedly. But I also bear in mind that whatever the circumstances, there are situations where families are in conflict, where there is poverty, where there is abuse, where people leave their children who become delinquent because they miss the love and affection and nurturing of one or the other of the parents, particularly the mother. There are also examples where the parents are setting difficult things that the children know is wrong, but after a time get assimilated into it and become themselves delinquent, wayward, misdirected, unwanted, and lost. So a lot depends upon the family too, as much as a lot depends upon the evolutionary process of work and working standards and working ways. And in that sense, I find the balance that is necessary between the working conditions and the time that they can spend, the quality time that parents can spend responsibly with their children, and also set an example for them that society can expect and can be satisfied with, so that they live together in some sort of harmony and progress together in some sort of direction, bringing satisfaction and success to society at large. Therefore, I would say that while work is very important for both men and women, there has to be a balance. And I would say that balance, as I repeated and reiterated before, has to be by the adjustments made at work and the adjustments made at home. Thank you very much. Namaste.